Hello students, myself Miss Sonali Patil, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, Gokhale College, Kolhapur. Today we will discuss groups from Algebra First, paper number 6 from BSc second year. Let's start with the group. Basically, group is a set. Take an example. It is a set of number like natural number, integers, real numbers and complex numbers. Okay. Now we go to the next point, binary operations. We know the basic operation of addition and multiplication of two numbers. Addition of two numbers is again a number. Multiplication of two numbers is again a number. So recall that if S is any set, then S cross S is equal to set of AB such that AB belongs to S. Now we define binary operation on set S. So definition of binary operation is a binary operation star on a set S is a function from S cross S to S, that is star from S cross S to S, such that AB from star AB. For convenience, we denote star AB by A star B. Thus, star is a binary operation on S which assign every pair of AB of elements of S an element A star B of S. We say that S is a closed under binary operation star. Binary operation is denoted by star and star represents the relation between these two elements. For example, addition and multiplication are binary operations on natural number, integer, rational number, real number and complex number. Note that subtraction or division are not binary operations on natural number. Since 5 minus 7 is equal to minus 2, it does not belongs to natural number, and 2 divided by 3 is also does not belongs to natural numbers. So subtraction and division are not binary operations on natural numbers. Okay. Now there are some properties of binary operations. So first property is a commutative. A binary operation star on a set S is a commutative if A star B is equal to B star A holds for all AB belongs to S. It means that if we can switch the operation order of A and B and it still gets the same results. Next property is associative. A binary star on a set S is associative if A star B star C is equal to A star B star C for all ABC belongs to S. For in the first instant we compute A star B and in the second instant we compute B star C, and this should hold for all ABC belongs to S. Next property is algebraic structure. Let star be a binary operation on a set S. We said that the set S together with a binary operation star is a binary algebraic structure. Next property is identity. Let S star be algebraic structure. An element E belongs to S is called an identity element for star if E star A is equal to A star E is equal to A for all A belongs to S. It means that if we can change the operation order of E and A, it still gets the same results. There is one theorem. Any binary structure S star has at most one identity element. That is, if an identity element exists in any algebraic structure, then it is unique. Let's start with the proof. Let E1 and E2 be the two identity elements in S. That is, E1 star A is equal to A star E1 is equal to A, and E2 star A is equal to A star E2 is equal to A for all A belongs to S. How we can write this? By using identity property. Here we can take two identity elements E1 and E2 and apply identity property on these two identity element. We get these two equations. So now E1 is identity in S, then for E2 belongs to S we have E1 star E2 is equal to E2 star E1 is equal to E2. This gives equation number 1, and also E2 is identity in S, then for E1 belongs to S we have E2 star E1 is equal to E1 star E2 is equal to E1. This gives equation number 2. So from equation 1 and 2 we get E1 is equal to E2. Thus if identity exists in S, then it is unique. Okay. So next point is a semigroup. Let star be a binary operation on a set S. The binary structure S star is said to be semigroup if the binary operation star is associative. It means that semigroup satisfies associative property. Next point is monoid. A binary structure S star is called monoid of star is associative and the identifier exists in S with respect to the binary operation star. Okay. Next point is groups. So definition of group: a non-empty set G with a binary operation star is a group if it satisfies following property. So first property is a closure property. We take two elements from group G, like AB belongs to G. So this implies that A star B belongs to G. If this operation also belongs to that group, then it is called a closure property. Next property is associative property. For all ABC belongs to G, this implies that A star B star C is equal to A star B star C. Next property is identity. There exists an element E belongs to G such that A star E is equal to A is equal to E star A for all A belongs to G. Fourth property is existence of inverse. For any A belongs to G, there exists an inverse A inverse belongs to G such that A star A inverse is equal to A inverse star A is equal to E. If G1 to G4 holds, then G is called a group denoted by G star. Note that G1 is equivalent to the fact that star is a binary operation on G. So for example, Z is a set of integers. So Z is equal to set of 0 plus minus 1 plus minus 2 plus minus 3 and so on. Then Z plus is a group and 0 is identity element. Here we apply binary operation addition on the set of integers, then we will get Z plus is a group and 0 is our identity element. Next example, let Q be a set of rational numbers. So Q is equal to P divided by Q such that PQ belongs to Z, Q is not equal to 0, then Q plus is a group and 0 is the identity element. Here we can apply binary operation addition on rational numbers, then we will get Q plus is a group and 0 is the identity element. Also we can apply binary operation multiplication on rational numbers, then we will get Q star is a group and 1 is the identity element. Now next point is a permutation group. Now we discuss an important type of group called permutation group. Let S be any finite set. A 1-1 and onto mapping F from S to S is called a permutation. The set of all permutation on S is denoted by A of S. For example, let S is equal to set of 1 2, then F from S to S defined by F of 1 is equal to 1, F of 2 is equal to 2 is a 1-1 and onto mapping. For convenience, we denote this mapping by F is equal to first row 1 2 and second row 1 2. Similarly, G from S to S is given by G is equal to first row 1 2 and second row 2 1. Then A of S is equal to F of G. Consider F of G from S to S, then F of G of 1 is equal to F of G of 1. So G of 1 is what? G of 1 is here. So 1 maps from 2. So G of 1 is equal to 2. So F of G of 1 is equal to F of 2. What is the F of 2? So 2 maps from 2. So F of 2 is equal to 2. And F of G of 2 is equal to, what is the G of 2? Here 2 maps from 1. So G of 2 is equal to 1. And F of 1, here 1 maps from 1. So F of 1 is equal to 1. So therefore F of G is equal to, here we are putting value of F and here we are putting value of G is equal to 1 maps from 1 and here is 1 maps from 2. So here is equal to 1 maps from 2. Now 2 maps from 2 and 2 maps from 1, so is equal to 2 maps from 1. What is the value of this is G. Similarly, G of F is equal to, here putting value of G and F and start the mapping. 1 maps from 2 and here is 1 map and here is 2 maps from 2. So what will we get? 1 maps from 2 and here 2 maps from 1 and 1 maps from 1. So what will we get? 2 maps from 1, and this is the value of G. Next, F of F is equal to, here we are putting value of F and start the mapping. 1 maps from 1, here is 1 maps from 1. So what will we get? 1 maps from 1, and secondly 2 maps from 2, 2 maps from 2. Then what will we get? 2 maps from 2, and this is the value of F. Next, G of G is equal to 1 2 2 1. 1 2 2 1 is equal to 1 maps from 2 and 2 maps from 1. So what will we get? 1 maps from 1, 2 maps from 1, 1 maps from 2. So 2 maps from 1, and this is the value of F. Thus inverse exists for F and G, and hence A of S is a group under composition of permutation. We denote this group by S2 is equal to F is equal to I, means F is our identity matrix, and G. Next point is a cyclic permutation. A definition of cyclic permutation: let S be a finite set. A permutation on S is called cyclic if and only if there exist element x1, x2, x3 and so on xn, such that f of x1 is equal to x2, f of x2 is equal to x3, f of x3 is equal to x4 and so on, f of xn is equal to x1. And for all other elements we say that f of x is equal to x. We denote permutation f by f is equal to x1, x2, x3 and so on xn. For example, in S3, if f is equal to first row 1 2 3 and second row 3 1 2, so this implies that f is equal to, here is 1 maps from 3 and 3 maps from 2, so f is equal to 1 3 and 2. Okay, now there are some basic definitions. Number of elements in a cycle is called as length of the cycle. Every permutation can be expressed as a product of cycles. A cycle of length 2 is called a transposition. Two cycles are said to be disjoint if they have no common elements. Every permutation can be expressed as a product of transposition. After decomposition into transposition, if the number of transpositions are even, then the given permutation is called as even permutation, and if the number of transpositions are odd, then the permutation is called as odd permutations. Okay, now there is a theorems. So first theorem: in any group G, identity element is unique. Inverse of each element A belongs to G is unique. A inverse of inverse is equal to A for all A belongs to G. AB inverse is equal to B inverse A inverse for all AB belongs to G. AB is equal to AC, this implies that B is equal to C, and BA is equal to CA, this implies that B is equal to C for all ABC belongs to G. So let's start with the proof. Firstly, we can write given things. So firstly, we can prove first point: identity element is unique. So let E belongs to G be an identity element. Suppose that E dash belongs to G be another element such that E dash A is equal to A E dash is equal to A for all A belongs to G. Now E belongs to G is identity and E dash belongs to G. We have E dash is equal to E dash E is equal to E dash, equation number 1, and also E dash belongs to G is identity and E belongs to G. We have E dash E is equal to E dash is equal to E. This gives equation number 2. Thus from equations 1 and 2 we have E is equal to E dash is equal to E dash, E is equal to E dash. So this implies that E is equal to E dash. Thus identity element is unique in G. Now next is inverse of each element A belongs to G is a unique. So second proof, let A belongs to G be arbitrary element. Suppose that A inverse is equal to A double dash be 2 inverse of A in G, then A dash is equal to A dash A is equal to E, and A double dash is equal to A double dash A is equal to E. How we can write this? By using inverse property. So therefore A dash is equal to A dash E, here by using identity property. So is equal to A dash of A double dash. What is the value of E? Here the value of E is A double dash. So here we can put the value of E is A double dash. Now we can change the bracket by using associative property. A dash A double dash. What is the value of A dash A? It's E. So here we can take E A double dash is equal to A double dash by using identity property. Hence inverse of each element is unique. Now third, if A inverse is the inverse of A, then A inverse is equal to A inverse of A is equal to E. That is, if we can take inverse of these two elements, then what will we get? A inverse. What is the inverse of A? It's A inverse. And what is the inverse of A inverse? It's only A. So is equal to, now here we can take inverse of this A inverse. It gives A, and inverse of A, it's A inverse is equal to E. So hence A inverse of inverse is equal to A. Now fourth one, for ABC belongs to G, consider AB B inverse A inverse is equal to. Here we can change the bracket by using associative property. A B inverse A inverse is equal to A E A inverse. B inverse means what? Identity element. By using inverse property, we get identity element. Now here we can use identity property, then what will we get? A inverse and is equal to E, hereby again using inverse property. Similarly, we consider B inverse A inverse of AB is equal to B inverse of A inverse AB. Here we can also apply associative property. So we can change the bracket and gives A inverse A is equal to, what is the value of A inverse A is E by using inverse property. Now B inverse E, B means what? B inverse B by using identity property. B inverse B means what? Identity element by using inverse property. So thus AB B inverse A inverse is equal to E is equal to B inverse A inverse of AB, because these two equations get the same value E. If we can divide AB by E, then what will we get? B inverse A inverse is equal to E divided by AB, and next we take a reciprocal on right hand side, then what will we get? AB bracket inverse is equal to B inverse A inverse for all AB belongs to G. So fifth one, if AB is equal to AC, then we consider B is equal to EB, here by using identity property is equal to, by inverse property we are putting a value of E is A inverse A of B is equal to, now here by using associative property A inverse of AB, then what is the value of AB is AC. So here we can put the value of AB is AC. So is equal to, now by using associative property again we are changing the bracket. So we can take a bracket on A inverse A and C is equal to EC. By using inverse property, what is the value of A inverse of A is equal to E. It's the identity element. EC is equal to C. E is the identity element. So by using identity property, what will we get? Value C. So similarly, if BA is equal to CA, then again we consider B is equal to BE is the identity element is equal to B. What is the value of E is A inverse. What is the value of E is A inverse. So is equal to, here we also use associative property. So we can change the bracket on BA. What is the value of BA? It's CA. So here we can put the value of BA, it's CA. So CA A inverse, again by using associative property we can change the bracket. So we can take a bracket on A inverse. So CA A inverse, what is the value of A inverse? It's E, identity property, and CE is equal to C by using identity property. This property is also called as left and right cancellation law. Okay. Now next theorem, for AB belongs to G, the equation AX is equal to B and YA is equal to B have unique solution for X and Y in the group G. Let's start with the proof. Consider the equation AX is equal to B where AB belongs to G. Now A belongs to G, this implies that there exists A inverse belongs to G, then AX is equal to B. So this implies that we can multiply this equation by A inverse on left hand side. So by multiplying A inverse, what will we get? A inverse of AX is equal to A inverse B. Now by here using associative property, A inverse AX is equal to A inverse B. Now next step, we using inverse property, A inverse of A gives identity element E. So next step what we can write? EX is equal to A inverse B. Now by using identity property, what will we get on next step? So it implies that X is equal to A inverse B. Now A inverse belongs to G and B belongs to G. So therefore X is also belongs to G. Here is A inverse. A inverse belongs to G and here is B. B belongs to G. So therefore X is also belongs to G. So thus solution exists in G. Next, suppose that x1 and x2 be two solutions, then ax1 is equal to b and ax2 is equal to b. So this implies that ax1 is equal to ax2. So this implies that x1 is equal to x2. Similarly, if ya is equal to b, so this implies that we are multiplying both the sides by A inverse on right hand side. Then what will we get? Ya A inverse is equal to ba A inverse. Then by using associative property we can change the bracket. So ya A inverse is equal to ba inverse. Then by using inverse property, A inverse, what will get the value of A inverse? Its E is identity element. So ye is equal to ba inverse. Then by using identity property, what will we get? Y is equal to ba inverse belongs to G. So next, suppose that y1 and y2 be two solutions, then y1a is equal to b and y2a is equal to b. So this implies that y1a is equal to y2a. So this implies that y1 is equal to y2. Hence solution for x and y is unique in G. Okay. So thank you for listening. We cover the next points in next lecture. Thank you.